Hello class, this is Shalene Thomas. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to show you a nice to know option for your CV. So this is just an optional presentation for you to consider creating your own web page for your CV. We're going to expand on how to do that today and explain why this option might be helpful, not only for your CV and future employment, but for your capstone as well. There's two electronic websites that I've worked with that I think work really well, easy to use to create this personalized web page. My preference is the Wix site, and it is my favorite. I've had several students use this platform to create their own online web page. It's easy to click on. You go to www.wix.com and it'll start you through the get started. I've tried it myself. It's easy to use, and I'm confident that each one of you can make that work. Another option is the strikingly.com. It is also free, easy to use, and a nice way to present yourself to your future employers. The reason I mention this is not only for upcoming interviews in clinical education, but also for your capstone. So we will be reviewing in the fall more about the capstone, what are the sections, the components, and how do you get your artifacts. The next part in the capstone is creating a reflection from those artifacts. But the final piece is how you're going to present this capstone to your academic advisor and anyone who attends your capstone presentation. At Regis, you're allowed to decide how you want to present that. Some students use a PowerPoint or a Prezi presentation. It's easy to use and it works well for a public presentation. However, over time, by viewing other schools and their capstone projects, I have been increasingly aware of the option to do an electronic portfolio. If you would like to, you can create your own website through Wix site or Strikingly for your CV and all the components of your capstone. To remind you, as a refresher, what are the 5 sections of a capstone? You're going to have an introduction section where you tell us a little bit about yourself, your journey that led up to getting to Regis. It's approximately 5 slides. You'll have the 3 beefy middle sections of reflective practitioner, doctoring profession, applying your knowledge, and then the smaller conclusion section. The next slide divides into what parts are in each of those 3 middle sections. Right here under that second section of reflective practitioner will be your CV. This is how I'm making the connection here today, but I want you to see that you can easily put in each one of these sections into your electronic web page to show all your artifacts and speak to your growth over your time here at Regis. To reiterate, in time for your capstone, you will be selecting key materials that you have acquired throughout your time here at Regis that you believe best demonstrate your achievements in the areas of the sections. You will build an evidence folder, eventually in Dropbox. It might live somewhere else now, but you'll build all this evidence into an electronic folder that both you and your academic advisee can have access to view. During your Clin Ed 4 rotation, you will be building your evidence folder and then viewing these, write a reflection about your work. It's a deliberate attempt to examine the act of learning that has occurred and to document it. When you reflect on your learning, you are thinking critically about yourself, your total experiences, and drawing connections between the body of knowledge and its application in your life and your transformation. Finally, you will connect these dots by presenting this to your academic advisor, yourself, and anyone else you choose to invite. I strongly encourage you invite your mentee, your grand mentee, and your parents, anyone who else is important to you, to show them the evidence of your growth over this time. It is typically a very moving presentation. During this presentation, you want to make it personally meaningful and share your portfolio in the best way that highlights your strength and transformation. Again, you can do this through a PowerPoint presentation, Prezi, or other electronic computer formats. You may also consider an electronic web page, an HTML page, to highlight your strength over and change over time. You will have an oral defense in May when you come back on campus. Again, you work with your academic advisor while you're out on clinical to determine how you would like to best illustrate this portfolio. You prepare and practice and present your 20-minute oral presentation in front of your academic advisor and those that are important to you. Again, you can invite up to 6 attendees from various classes and your family. After the presentation, everyone will be asked to be dismissed while the academic advisor and affiliate faculty determine the result from your presentation. I'd like to show you a couple examples of people who use the Wix site for their capstone and therefore also their CV. Carol Passarilli from the class of 2018 willingly allowed me to share her Wix site with you. I think she did a nice job of captivating her story in this electronic presentation. I'm going to allow you to scroll through her pictures and check out her story on your own time. But what I'd like to highlight to you right now is how she organized her thoughts. So she was very big in blogging and helped start the Regis blog site. She wanted to have her in-services here as well. The piece that would be important for your capstone is to have a capstone page that then you can link to the various sections of your capstone. Again, under that reflective practitioner is where your CV should live. Looking at Carol's, you can scroll down and see how she transformed her CV into an electronic representation. If we go back, we have others that we can view. Elizabeth Heckmuller, also from the class of 2018, willingly allowed me to show you her site as well. Somewhat similar in nature, but different as well, as she highlights her story at Regis University. She too listed the capstone as a separate link that you could then check the various sections. Under Reflective Practitioner, she wrote out some of her self-reflection, and I believe she has a link to her CV. She highlights it at the bottom of the page. So these are some examples I want you to consider if you're thinking of doing something above and beyond. Again, this is not required, but a nice visual for you to display your learning. I have had several CIs tell me that they've started to see these creep up by some of their physical therapists that they were planning to hire. And one gentleman told me it was an automatic hire on the spot because of using that platform. I share with you the grading rubric for the capstone, as we have been talking about the capstone, and we'll talk about this more as time evolves, but I wanted you to be aware that this is how you will be evaluated on your capstone. Looking at the different sections and the completions of those sections, the reflections, your writing style, making sure that you're responsive to your academic advisor and that you have the evidence that's necessary for each section. To conclude, all of these deadlines will be coming in the future. We will talk about them more as time evolves, but I wanted you to be aware of this opportunity for you to consider creating your own web page or HTML page to highlight your CV and your future capstone project. Thank you so much for listening. Best wishes.